This wall cuts right through the center of our territory.
It's our history. These people fought for us to be here as much as the soldiers fought for America.
The 2020 presidential election is coinciding with one of the most polarizing times in modern American history. I'm traveling with Vice across the country to learn about the extraordinary actions of ordinary people that could shape our collective future.
I think this is the most polarized I've ever seen the country.
I support Trump, but I don't agree with what he's doing here.
As we make our way across the Southwest for this roadshow, we're meeting with people trying to influence the conversation around some of the biggest issues facing their communities. For one group at the U.S.-Mexico border, it's a fight over land sovereignty, and for another group in Arizona, it's winning over the hearts and minds of legacy voters before Election Day. It's a little after 8 a.m. We're about an hour outside of San Diego in the Kumeyaay Nation because today we're with the La Posta Band of Mission Indians. They are going out to protest at the U.S.-Mexico border. The reason being is the current construction is going straight through sacred land where their ancestors are buried and where they also hold religious ceremonies. Cynthia Parada is a tribal council leader. She's been organizing these protests in response to what she says is the Trump administration's failure to consult with tribal leaders to ensure that artifacts and burial sites aren't being destroyed during construction.
Howka, everyone. I just want to say good morning. Thank you all for coming out. We could circle up and then we'll be doing our prayer.
So I'm very honored to be here to protect our ancestors. Pray and I ask that you watch over us and protect us.
If somebody comes to you and says something smarty, don't listen to them. Just let it go. It's only air coming out of their lungs. You know, that's it.
I'd say let's everybody start grouping up and then we're going to head out to the site.
Tell me a little bit about the Kumeyaay Nation.
It's just home. This is our land and this is our area and this has always been home. We feel like nobody really cares about us out here. They feel like nobody's out here. And then they tell us all the time that you can just move away, you can leave. But for us as on the reservation, you can't. And once we start coming over this hill, you'll be able to see the border wall on the side. And the border wall actually goes through half of our original territory. Our Kumeyaay land stretches into Mexico as well.
We're up to 330 miles of wall. We're doing 10 miles a week. And we're going to be finished with the wall very soon.
The Trump administration had promised to build that wall. In recent months, has the construction seemed like it's put on the gas, I guess?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They've been trying so hard to get it finished. We're not against the wall. We're against how they are building it, which means the waivers on the laws, the non-consultation with the people, and just the disrespect. There were walls built here before, like the Obama wall, but there was consultations. There were the right steps taken, and nothing was destroyed. But this new construction started back in March. They're working at night now, and that's why we're so frustrated with their statements because they release, oh, we're working with the tribes, and that's just not true.
Let's do it. Let's remember to record. If you guys have phones, remember to record everything and anything. Take pictures.
The worst day, I would say, is we went out there. They had machinery blocking our caravan in. There is a gentleman. He's come out a couple times and actually confronted our group, harassing us, recording us, yelling at us.
Fucking surveys before they put up the wall the first time.
It was intense, I would say. At least they got a trash can up here. Usually they just litter everything. I think a lot of it is misunderstanding. They think we're against the wall in its entirety and that we're against America. When we look out to our land and see everything, we see our history, we see our culture, and it's all just a gift and it's all sacred to us.
Right now what we're coming up on is an active construction site. The goal is that they want to stop this construction that's happening right now because, as you can see, they're just digging without any kind of monitors from the community to make sure that none of the dirt and the land that's being dug up is from their ancestors. U.S. Customs and Border Protection have allowed some Kumeyaay cultural monitors at dig sites, but Cynthia says the accelerated speed and method of construction has made fully monitoring the area impossible.
Our artifacts have been found as far as, I believe, 20 feet deep. Some of them are so minuscule you can't see them by the eye. We really do need to be a part of that and consulted and know for sure that they're not destroying anything.
this is Victor Estrada from La Posta Band of Mission Indians. He's a Kumeyaay cultural monitor. He's out here actually working with the crews on a daily basis.
You know, it's trying to find a needle in a haystack, so to speak. My job is to just take it, protect it, and move it outside of this right of way. We had 7 areas where they're working, and we only had 1 monitor per 2 stations. You would probably most likely need about 2 to 3 monitors per site.
So are we going to shut both sides down?
Yeah.
Let's see. Once he moves, we'll settle you up there.
You guys watch your footing too.
If we can.
We just saw obviously like 3 big construction vehicles that were here, and now they've just pulled out. So was that a direct result of the fact that you're here?
Yeah, so all of those guys are gone until we're done. So, and this is a new, like after that horrible day, this is the new system that they've created. So when we get here, they don't want anybody to confront us. They just tell everybody to leave.
Watch out for snakes and watch out for the cactus.
Snakes? Gotcha. From this vantage point, you can see straight down, you can see this wall, but as you were telling me, you don't see that wall, your land is on both sides of this.
Yeah, we see this honestly as our halfway marker, because this is directly halfway through our original Kumeyaay territory.
It's really disheartening to see the land torn up in such a way. There was never trenching done over here. There was never this kind of hole dug to put a wall up right here. The holes for the wall before were like how you dig a hole in your backyard to put your swing set up.
I feel like we have a lot of people within this country who talk about heritage and culture. What do you think when you hear people talk about something that was important to them because it happened 200 years ago, when you're talking about ancestral grounds that have thousands and thousands of years of history?
The best way that I've seen is to compare it to religion. A lot of religions talk about a homeland or a holy place and something that's sacred, and we just tell them that everything that they look forward to or they have something that they pray to, that's what's here. That's what we see, and that's what we're standing on. With the ceremonies and the singing, we do that to pray for the people that are in the ground, that were in the ground, and just in memory of all the people that were there, that praying for the land. We are a peaceful people. We are a loving people. All we want is just to protect our history, our culture, and our people. The best way we do have people is we just tell them to come out and live it with us. Live a few days with us and come celebrate the ceremonies and come be a part of the people. That's the best way to understand.
Why do you feel it's important to be here today?
To try to stop the desecration of our lands.
The point of this was with monitors and everything, you're supposed to, use a backhoe, slowly go through it and, make sure there's nothing there.
It's just another way of the government coming in and still trying to erase us. We're still here. We're still here. You can't erase us. We're still here.
Who are you guys voting for this year?
So I'll be voting, but I will not be voting for Trump. Promise you that.
I support Trump, but I don't agree with what he's doing here. So it's like, it makes me not want to vote because of what he's doing. But other than the things he's doing to the native peoples and a couple other issues, like I'm pro-Trump all the way. If he would think before he acts, sometimes he'd probably do a lot better. It's just so off-putting to see the hurt that he causes just by ignoring the facts that he's destroying and desecrating lands and ruining spirituality throughout the whole country. It's not just here, it's through the whole country. Because he wants to put this wall up on a nation that was founded by immigrants.
So we just left Southern California and made our way into Arizona. It's 110 degrees. It was interesting being down at the border with the La Posta band because their whole thing is like, if you just come and see what we're doing and talk to us, you'll understand this issue a little bit more. And now we're making our way to Phoenix to spend some time with a group of veterans who are sort of hoping to do the same thing. Vets Forward is a progressive grassroots organization that mobilizes military veterans to try and win over the hearts and minds of Arizona Republican voters. Aaron Marquez, the organization's co-founder, utilizes his Army experience in civil affairs to cut through the cultural divides and connect with voters through meaningful conversations about political issues.
So this is all of Maricopa County. That precinct voted for Donald Trump in 2016. But 2 years later, in 2018, voted for Kyrsten Sinema, the Democrat, for U.S. Senate. So what we're assessing there is that there's voters that have started to change their mind or are feeling conflicted about the Republican Party under the leadership of Donald Trump.
We're in a small neighborhood about 15 minutes outside of Phoenix. It's very much like a military operation between Aaron and the rest of his team. They sort of huddle up, look at a map, and then deploy to hit as many houses as possible in the 2.5 hours they have before the sun goes down.
I'm gonna try to keep everybody kind of clustered together today. So Joanna, I know you like to go fast. And then you guys take the north side of Monte Cristo, and then we'll start with this first house here.
And how many houses are you trying to hit today?
Each cluster we try to hit somewhere between 40 and 50 houses.
Wow.
In terms of door knocks, I think we try to have somewhere between 5 and 10 conversations.
It just all depends on who you run into and what that veteran identity will mean to them at that time.
Yeah, veteran identity. So
it goes a long way, yeah.
And each one of you is wearing some sort of insignia from your service. And that's hopefully going to be a little bit of a visual indicator to someone to say, all right.
Because we're announcing it,
Yeah.
and then you see a visual, so it kind of just solidifies that.
Yeah, let's go knock on doors before we lose daylight. So we're gonna go this way. Don't go too fast, Joanna.
I heard you were a speedy one. So.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Aaron.
Hi.
I'm an Army veteran with a group called Vets Forward. We're just knocking on doors, talking to voters in the neighborhood today about the next election.
If President Trump was standing right here and you had 2 minutes to talk to him?
You had 2 minutes to talk with him. What would you want to tell him?
He's great.
He's great? What would you want him to know?
The economy right now, how things are really bad. So many people are out of jobs.
Doing a hell of a good job and keep it up.
Are there any specific policies that you like about the president?
We're good, thank you. It's fine, thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
I'm good, thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. That's how most conversations go. Hi.
Hiya.
I'm Aaron. I'm an Army veteran working with Vets Forward. Tell me your name again. I can't remember the last time.
Mildred.
Mildred, that's right. When I was in Afghanistan, my dad called me up about halfway through my deployment. And he said, son, I have some bad news. The doctor just told me I have cancer. And we lost my dad on January 1st of 2016. You know, my dad was a real estate broker in Utah. He always worked for himself. So he was able to get a healthcare policy through the Affordable Care Act. Without that healthcare, he might not have had the same end-of-life care that he got because of the decisions that our government had made during those 4 years to make sure that everyone has healthcare. Do you know if there's somebody in your life that's been struggling with healthcare or has struggled with healthcare?
Yes, I have one son now who's struggling.
One of the things I've always said is you can't go straight for the mind. You got to go through the heart to kind of persuade anybody to do anything else. And what we've learned with deep canvassing is that, you know, we're not going to convince them with all the stats. Like those things, you know, don't really resonate until you make it a personal story. And they can relate and find somebody that they know in their lives that they love that, you know, has probably struggled with healthcare issues to kind of consider voting differently by realizing their lived experiences conflict with, you know, the values of how they've voted probably their whole lives. I know you've been a registered Republican for a long time. Is there any conflicts you're feeling right now about, you know, President Trump or Martha McSally and the Arizona Republican Party?
I'm not happy.
You're not happy? When you think about the presidential race and the kind of leader you want to support, do you think you'll be voting 10 definitely for Donald Trump, 0 definitely for Joe Biden, or 5 you might have mixed feelings?
No mixed feelings.
No mixed feelings. Definitely for
Biden.
Definitely for Biden. Okay, perfect.
Why do you like hearing from someone like him when talking about politics?
Because I don't have anybody else to talk to me about it. I've been in this house since March.
You just want someone to talk to.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Mildred.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Mildred. It's funny, when you first knocked on the door and she was kind of not interested in politics, I was like, oof, we'll see how long she continues to engage for. But by the end, she seemed genuinely very happy to be talking about this, or at least with somebody.
I think there are a lot of people that are isolated right now because of COVID, and democracy starts at the local level, and we can defeat Trump, but we have to defeat Trumpism as well. And there's districts like this all over the country that I think created the conditions for somebody like Trump to get elected in the first place. Because of the pandemic, but really before the pandemic, so much of the information people are receiving is coming at them online or through other forms of media. And we've really lost, this opportunity to go out and meet people face to face.
Do you think there's undecided voters left, or people have pretty much made up their minds about who they're going to vote for on the presidential level?
I've been working to turn Arizona blue since I was a very young, idealist in 2004, working on the John Kerry campaign. And there's been a lot of people that have, every year said, well, this is the year that it's going to flip. And this year, I'm more jaded, but I'm more optimistic at the same time that this is the year where it's going to happen. If we can convince 1 out of 10 voters to vote Democratic when they've been voting Republican their entire lives, that's better than any form of political persuasion work that I've seen. But it's hard. It's emotionally draining to send volunteers out there to knock on doors and know that 9 out of 10 doors that they knock on are going to be tough conversations where doesn't feel like we've made a dent with the people we've talked to.
They're just staring at me through the
window.
Through the window.
I mean, this is a pretty good sign. Semper Fi, Urahs, Marine Corps.
So for the Senate race here in Arizona, are you gonna vote or not?
Oh, you bet I am.
So you're leaning towards President Trump at this point?
I would.
Kelly's for guns, taking of guns.
I don't think he's for taking for guns.
Well, okay, then you better get with the fact checkers on Facebook.
We are using our voices as veterans to protect democracy right now and defend democracy. We swore an oath to defend the Constitution. We did not swear an oath to defend a president.
Are you Trump supporters or no?
We're just asking certain questions and talk
You're
about
not going to have the bad guys come and burn down my house because I'm a Trump supporter, right?
Probably not.
Do you think you'll be voting 10 definitely for Donald Trump, 0 for Biden, definitely for Biden, or 5 somewhere in the middle you might have mixed feelings about?
I would say closer towards the Biden.
Okay.
We're all red at this house.
Okay, all righty.
Every one of us.
Did you find anything useful about this conversation?
No, it's just a conversation.
Has that been a typical kind of interaction today?
With a hardcore Trump supporter, yeah, that's all pretty typical.
Anything you want to talk about, Ricardo? Your first night out deep canvassing?
They shut down when even if you give them like a fact, and it's the same thing online where you tell somebody like, well, Trump tried cutting legal immigration. No, he didn't. To me, that was ugly to see people who just are resistant to even things that they say they care about. And when you tell them like, oh, these people are attacking the things you care about, they're like, oh, well, I don't believe you. If they don't believe you, there's no impact. That was really disappointing to see that actually coming out of people's mouths.
I don't mind talking to the people because it helps me even just restore humanity for people that I know have that rhetoric, and it allows me to actually give them more grace.
Do you think you change anybody's vote?
I definitely think that we impacted for the local election. Yeah. Even though they said whatever they said to us, because of who we are and because of how we approach them, it's a nugget that they're thinking about.
Being with the vets really gave me hope because they're doing the hard work and engaging with people who have beliefs that differ from their own. As we continue to move across the country, I'm curious to see how these conversations shift according to the different communities that we visit.